Now, adding integers. If the signs are the same, we're going to add them. It's easy. Signs are the same, we're going to add them. Easy. Here's where people make their mistakes, is in this part here. Adding integers with different signs. Okay, this is the third day I'm explaining this rule right here. Okay? We're going to find the difference in their absolute values. I'm going to show something similar but a little different. What we're doing is figuring out what this is in our heads. Okay, so we're going to find the difference in their absolute values. The absolute value of a -5 is 5, and the absolute value of 6 is 6. I'm going to find the difference. Difference is subtracting. Okay, this is going to give me 1. But I have to ask myself, do I have more positives or more negatives? Because it says here, and keep the sign of the most. I have more positives, so my answer is a positive. When we look at the next one, again, absolute value of 5 is 5, absolute value of a -6 is 6. So I want to go, again, 6 minus 5 is 1. I have more what? Positives or negatives? Negatives. So you have to remember to come back and say, oh, that's a -1. This is what you're doing in your head. Or you can do it on paper, but most of you are just doing this part right here in your head, and you're getting to this number, and then you have to double check. More positives, more negatives, and then again, double check more positives, more negatives. Subtracting integers, we're going to rewrite it so it's adding, so I can go back and use these rules. Again, when you're subtracting, we're going to rewrite it so it's adding. And when we do that, we change subtracting to adding the opposite. So if it's subtract a positive, it ends up being adding a negative. If it's got the double negatives like this right here, last year, Mr. Ferguson showed you to just go like that, right? Just 4 plus 3. Okay, well, yep, that's what we get. Notice two things happen. This changes to adding, and this changes the sign. So it's almost like you're making two marks. You're making that a plus, and you're making that a negative. You're making this a plus, you're making that a plus. Okay? Another way to think of it. But either way, you have to change subtracting to adding the opposite. Now, when we look at number 1, okay, order of operations, say, adding and subtracting, I work in order from left to right. So I'm going to do this part first. A -1 plus a -1. Signs are the same, so I add them. That's a -2 plus 3. Well, here I'm adding, but the signs are different. So in my head, I'm doing 3 minus 2 is 1. Do I have more positives or negatives? Positives, so my answer is a +1. All right, number 2. Go ahead, see if you can work through the problem and get it right. Okay, so first of all, hopefully you rewrote them. Hopefully you wrote 1 plus a negative 4 plus 7. When we do this part here, that is a negative 3 plus 7. And then we get 4. Now, I didn't show this step here, but the one positive is going to cancel with one of the negatives. So you still have the 3 negatives left over. And then here, the 3 negatives are going to cancel with the 3 positives, leaving you with the 4 positives left over. Go ahead, number 3. So on number 3, hopefully you got 2. And remember, if you have questions, to either ask me, raise your hand and ask me, or while when we're working on the next problem, let me know and I'll come help you as well. Okay? So go ahead. Number 4. Don't just put an answer, people. Make sure you're writing it out. Even if you're figuring it all out in your head and you don't have to write anything down, please write down at bare minimum what I'm writing down. Don't just put an answer down. These are your notes. These are what you're going to go back to give yourself help. Okay, so what do you get? Yep. And then do the next part. So on number 4, we rewrite the subtracting to adding the opposite. Negative 5 plus 2 is a negative 3, and a negative 3 plus 9 is 6. All right, go ahead, next problem. Three plus a negative 2, or at least 3 plus a negative 5 is negative 2, and negative 2 plus 5 is 3. Go ahead, number 6. -17, negative 34 plus 44 is 10. Had to rewrite the minus -7 to just +7. And 10 plus 7 is 17. Next. -4. Rewrite the subtract 3 to adding a -3. And then when I add these, I get -1. -1 plus -3 is -4. Go ahead, number 8. Rewrite the subtract 9 to adding a -9. And then when I add -9, -30, I get -39. And add -9, I get -48. Number 9. Number 9, you get 25. Go on to number 10. Then we get -24. Number 11. negative 61 for 11. Yes? Okay. All right, go ahead, number 12. Negative 17. Number 13. We get negative 9. If you get it wrong, again, remember, you got to make sure you figure out why you got it wrong. Also, if you get something wrong, correct it. Make sure you put a star by it. So when I say review, right? So when I say review, when you're looking at those notes, you remember to look at that problem again. So if you got this one wrong, make sure you have it starred. So when it's time to review, you can make sure you look to see what you did wrong. Questions? All right, go ahead, number 14. We get 23. Number 15. And we should get 8 for number 15. Go ahead, number 16. And you should get negative 10. All right, so what's your assignment? IXL C4. IXL C4, and be ready for a quiz on Tuesday. We'll do a little review before the quiz, but remember, quiz Tuesday.